NASCAR said no. Then NASCAR said yes. And right now, millions of people across the internet are locked in on what happens next with a 31-year-old YouTube star who is doing something almost nobody in motorsport history has ever attempted, learning to race at the second highest level of NASCAR in real time in front of the entire world. This is the story of Garrett Mitchell, better known as Cletus McFarland, and how he went from being shut out of one of the most famous tracks in America to earning his way back into a NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts series just weeks later. It's a story about rejection, grinding, and what happens when the internet collides with professional motors. If you spend any time on automotive YouTube, you already know the name. If you haven't, here's everything you need to know. Garrett Mitchell, racing under the name Cletus McFarland, has built one of the largest car-focused audiences on the internet. 4.7 million YouTube subscribers through years of wild stunts, burnouts, and genuine passion for anything with an end. But what started as entertainment has turned into something far more serious. Cletus isn't doing this for content, and he is pursuing an actual, legitimate NASCAR racing career. Not a one-off guest appearance. Not a publicity stunt. A real, structured path up the motorsport ladder with one of the sport's most respected organizations. Before landing his current deal, his racing resume was thinned by professional. He had a handful of starts in the ARCA Menard Series, which sits below NASCAR's National Series on a ladder. His only National Series start before 2026 was a single NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Daytona International Speedway, one of the most challenging debut venues imaginable, where he crashed out after completing just 5 laps. Limited seat time, a steep learning curve, and the entire racing world watching his every move. That's the situation Cletus McFarland walked into when Richard Childress Racing came calling. Richard Childress Racing is not a small operation. This is a team with decades of NASCAR history, multiple championships, and a name that carries serious weight in the sport. When RCR announced they were putting Cletus McFarland in the number 33 Chevrolet, the reaction across the racing community was immediate and divided. The deal covers 3 races per year over 2 seasons in 2026. Tommy's Express Car Wash signed on as the primary sponsor. On paper, it looked like a solid, structured plan, a controlled introduction to the series with a capable team behind him. But many inside the sport weren't convinced. Kyle Busch, one of the most decorated drivers in NASCAR history and never one to hold back, made his skepticism clear publicly. His criticism was blunt. Cletus McFarland lacked the experience required to be racing at this level. Kyle Busch said he would have liked to see Cletus run more races before moving up, and then landed the line that got everyone talking. "My son has probably run more races than he has, and he's 10 years old." That quote spread everywhere, and it set the tone for the debate that would follow Cletus into every single race he had. On April 4th, 2026, Garrett Mitchell made his NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut at Rockingham Speedway in the North Carolina Education Lottery 2. The numbers told one story. The bigger picture told another. He qualified 35th, posting the 4th slowest lap time. He started near the back and largely stayed there. He spun out multiple times throughout the race, brought out the final caution when he went around coming off turn 4, and finished 32nd out of 38 drivers, 6 laps down to the... By raw statistics, it was a rough debut. But here's what actually mattered. He finished the race. He didn't wreck anyone. He didn't destroy the car. He didn't take out a group of experienced professionals in a multi-car incident that would have ended the conversation entirely. At Rockingham, he spun twice and nearly went around on 2 other occasions. The incidents were visible and well documented, but the team and the sanctioning body both noted that keeping the car in one piece under those circumstances was not enough. NASCAR and the racing media gave him credit for grinding through the full race distance, and RCR saw enough to keep moving forward with the plan. On the same weekend, Cletus also ran the ARCA East race at Rockingham and grabbed a top 5 finish. That result showed there was real car control underneath the rough edge. He earned an impressive top 5 finish in the ARCA East Rockingham race, which added a layer of credibility to the case that he belonged on a... After Rockingham, Richard Childress Racing moved to enter Cletus in the next scheduled O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, the AG Pro 300 at Talladega Superspeedway on April 25, 2026. And NASCAR said no. Talladega is not a normal racetrack. Cars run in tight packs at speeds approaching 200 miles per hour, separated by inches. The drafting dynamics are unique. The reactions required are split second. And when something goes wrong, and things go wrong at Talladega regularly, it can take out 10, 15, or more cars in a single inning. It is, by any measure, one of the most demanding environments in all of motorsport. NASCAR's Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer, John Probst, laid out the sanctioning body's position directly on the official Hauler Talk podcast. We're all huge Cletus fans. We all watch his videos and are certainly very appreciative of everything he's done in our sport and will continue to do in our sport. He is approved right now for O'Reilly Series short tracks, which means he's good for all of ARCA, all of Truck, and then O'Reilly up through the short tracks. We'd like to see more out of Cletus in the short track. So we're not saying no, but there is more that we would like to see out of Cletus before we would approve him for Talladega. NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell echoed that position on the Door Bumper Clear podcast, saying, "It's kind of every race. So we go to the next race, we'll see. Obviously, there's some progression we need to see. I applaud our team. It's a tough call. He's a hugely popular driver, but these are the best drivers in the world, and we got to make sure that we got the right guys out there." RCR's own Danny Lawrence told Motorsport.com that the outcome wasn't entirely surprising. They might ask us to run another race because the thing about it is we didn't get to do a live pit stop. There were a lot of things they wanted to see happen that didn't happen. When he got sideways early, we automatically went into this conservation mode of just keep rolling, don't push it too hard. Even Dale Earnhardt Jr., whose opinion carries enormous weight in the NASCAR community and whom Cletus genuinely respects, went on record saying he didn't think Cletus was ready for Talladega at that point. Cletus found out and posted a reaction video on Facebook. He called it what it was. "Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted you to hear it from me first that I have been denied by NASCAR to run Talladega in my O'Reilly car," he said. "I made my O'Reilly debut last Saturday with hopes of getting approval for Talladega, but they did not see enough. Granted, it was a pretty hectic race. I tried to pass someone 3 wide on the third lap, spun out a few times, didn't crash anybody, but still it was pretty hectic." He didn't deflect. He acknowledged where he stood. "It's not like we've been planning this for a year, and I've only been racing NASCAR for. It was never my mission to go out and climb into an O'Reilly car, get to the top fast as I can. I need more windshield time regardless of whether it's in an O'Reilly car, ARCA car, or truck. More windshield time is going to help me. I've got a lot to learn, guys." He called the rejection a kick in the nuts, but said he wasn't treating it as a major setback. He just needed more track time. Between the Talladega rejection and the next O'Reilly opportunity, Cletus went to work. He entered the ARCA Menards tied 150 Kansas Speedway, and the performance turned heads. He wasn't just surviving. He was racing. He made passes on the outside. He worked his way through traffic. He climbed as high as 7th place with 41 laps remaining and was sitting 10th with 25 laps to go. Then the engine blew. He was classified 20th, but anyone watching knew the result had nothing to do with this. His attitude afterwards was exactly the kind of thing that keeps teams and sanctioning bodies invested in a driver. "Overall, I had a blast. I made 77 laps. That's pretty good," he said in an in-race interview. "I mean, if I would have blown the motor at 50, I probably would have shed a tear, but I made over 75% of the race, so I'd call it a win." Cletus McFarland's top 10 ARCA run at Kansas went up in smoke literally, but the performance demonstrated a level of raw ability that was hard to ignore. The car control, the overtaking, the decision-making in traffic, it was all there before the mechanical failure of the day. On April 20th, 2026, Cletus McFarland announced on social media that NASCAR had approved him for the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250 at Nashville Superspeedway on May 30th, 2026. He will again drive the number 33 Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, with Tommy's Express car washback on the car. Look out, guys, your boy is going back to O'Reilly's racing. On May 30th, I'll be in number 33 Tommy's Express car wash car from RCR out at Nashville Superspeedway, he posted. He followed it up by being direct about his preparation. "Want you guys to all come out and see some action. I'm going to be doing a lot of training with RCR, a lot of simulator time. Really looking forward to getting back out on the track in the O'Reilly's car. A lot of power. Got a dial on my turning left. So come out May 30th at Nashville Superspeedway. It's going to be a blast." RCR matched his energy on X, posting, "He's back. The at Tommy's Intersword Express number 33 will be flying like an eagle in Nashville on May 30th with Cletus McFarland behind the wheel." Nashville Superspeedway is not the same challenge as Rockingham. It measures 1.33 miles in length and is a concrete D-shaped oval that blends both intermediate and short track characteristics. It's faster, the corners flow differently, and the skills required to manage it well are distinct from anything Cletus faced at this. Nashville measures at 1.33 miles and featuring both intermediate and short track tennis. It is a meaningful step up in complexity, not a super speedway, but not a simple short track, a real test. The announcement landed across social media, and the reaction was exactly what you'd expect from a fan base as passionate and divided as NASCAR's. On the cautious side, one fan wrote directly, "Nashville is low-key a difficult track for someone inexperienced." Another added, "Just like Rockingham, that's going to be a really hard track. I genuinely hope he does well." These aren't critics trying to tear him down. They're fans who understand what Nashville demands and are being honest about the challenge ahead. Then came the supporters. One pulled out a line that tapped straight into NASCAR's soul. "Be like Biff. Do it for Dale. Looking forward to seeing Cletus improvement." Another kept it simple. "Hell yeah, brother." On X, viewers stated plainly they were tuning in specifically for Cletus, former NASCAR fans coming back to the sport just to watch him race. And the jokes were inevitable. One fan wrote, "Our boy did good in Kansas. Make sure the oil lines are tight." A direct callback to the kind of mechanical chaos that happens regularly on Cletus's YouTube. But the serious critics haven't gone quiet. Kyle Busch and the broader earn your spot contingent in the sport aren't satisfied. And they won't be until Cletus produces results that speak for themselves. Every spin, every mistake, every lap down is going to be amplified. That pressure doesn't go away. It only grows as the tracks get harder. There's also a real conversation happening about the nature of NASCAR's approval process itself. One Reddit user raised a pointed question about whether drivers were historically licensed openly for a series rather than cleared on a track-by-track basis, and whether NASCAR is operating under new, unpublished criteria specifically because of Cletus. It's a legitimate structural question that the sport hasn't fully answered publicly. Nashville is the next real test, and the stakes are clear. A clean, controlled run, even finishing in the top 25, would give NASCAR the progression they've been asking. It would strengthen the case that Cletus can handle intermediate-style tracks and potentially open the door to bigger venues later in 2026. The path to Daytona and Talladega runs directly through Nashville. A rough outing flips the script. A poor showing will give the critics the ammunition they've been waiting for. The pressure on RCR to justify the multi-race deal will intensify, and the Talladega denial could stop being a single exception and start looking like a pattern. Cletus understands this completely. That's why he's pouring time into the simulator. That's why he's working closely with RCR's resource. He is not approaching Nashville like a content creator showing up for another video. He's approaching it like a professional driver preparing for the most important race of his career so far. Zoom out from the individual story, and the bigger question becomes unavoidable. Is what Cletus McFarland is doing good for NASCAR as a sport? The traditional path is well established. Drivers spend their entire childhoods in go-karts, late models, and regional stock car series before they ever get near a NASCAR National Series. Most of the drivers competing against Cletus at Nashville will have thousands of laps of professional racing experience behind them. He is learning on the job at the second highest level in front of millions of people, with every single mistake uploaded and debated online with it. NASCAR itself has acknowledged the tension directly. John Probst put it clearly. There's a fine line to tread sometimes between the entertainment and the sport of racing. And I think that we're all, the folks in R&D, we watch Cletus video. We like Cletus. It's not like it's us sitting there saying, "Oh, we're out to get Cletus." We're not. We love Cletus. We love what he's done to our sport, or for our sport, and will continue to do. And there's a commercial reality that can't be ignored. Cletus McFarland brings 4.7 million YouTube subscribers and a massive social media following into every race he enters. The CW network and NASCAR both benefit from that audience tuning in. Former fans are returning. New fans are discovering the sport. That has real value. The question is whether this is a one-time novelty that fades after a few races or whether it represents something more significant. A preview of how NASCAR can attract and grow new audiences in the social media era, where the lines between creator and competitor, between entertainment and sport, are increasingly difficult to draw. Cletus McFarland didn't expect to be here this fast. NASCAR didn't plan for someone like him to arrive quite like this. But here they both are, navigating it together, one race at a time. Rockingham was the first hurdle. Nashville is the next. And if he clears it, the door opens wider for everyone.